In today's video, we ride jumps, extremely gnarly technical trails, and climb to large heights all aboard this beauty, the Norco Sight. In today's video, we'll test this bike on all sorts of terrain. Before we start, I want to say a huge thanks to Ride Bicycle's bike shop in Issaquah for supporting this video. If you need anything bike related, this shop is your go-to place. As all of you know, COVID has hit the bike industry very hard. Items are out of stock everywhere and parts are harder to find now. At Ride Bicycles, we have mountain bikes to choose from, tires, gear, tools, helmets, and way more. Come down to Issaquah for an awesome bike shop experience soon. Let's get started with my Norco Sight I got to test ride from the shop. The spec for this build is real nice. It's a 2020 Sight C2 in this awesome bumblebee color. The bike has nice parts and works well. The fork is a Fox 36 Performance Elite, which is a good quality suspension fork for all terrain. The shock is a Fox Flow X2, also feeling great to ride on trails. For the group set, this Sight has a combination of SLX and XT from Shimano. The brakes are both SLX along with the cassette and chain, while the derailleur, shifter, and cranks are XT. If any of you get a chance to demo this bike, Norco uses the Ride Align system to set it up. Enter your height and weight, and Norco will determine the perfect suspension settings for your bike. You can even adjust your skill setting and bike position for even more accurate results. I was so stoked to test this bike out, so let's get to Tiger Mountain for the first part of the test. Alright, now we really get to see how this Norco Sight climbs, because I have a huge fire road pedal ahead of me to the top of Predator. The climb up Tiger is a fairly moderate fire road pedal with a bunch of steep sections. The seat-tube angle of the Sight put me over the bike in a very comfortable position for ascending. Climbing felt very natural, and I wasn't thinking about how awful this mountain's climb is to me. I was impressed by the stiffness of the shock going uphill as well. It was staying very rigid and made my climbing experience fairly enjoyable. Steep sections were easy, and I was overall pleasantly surprised. Alright, now for some downhill fun. After climbing up with this bike, I was ready to hit Predator to test how the Sight handles rough and chunky terrain. Let's see how it feels. First time down it on this bike, so let's see how it handles. I'll save my final thoughts for riding the lower section, but let's just say this bike's capabilities were way beyond my expectations. Ooh. Oh man, and that's upper Predator. I was absolutely blown away by this bike's capabilities on Predator, and what I took it through was not easy at all. It had an urge to go fast, which is really nice on a bike. The suspension felt perfect, and the geometry of the bike made me feel way more comfortable than I was expecting. It seems to excel even more when you send it hard. The Sight gave me a whole lot of confidence. Alright, lower Predator. Just finished the upper part. I gotta say, this bike, it's extremely capable. Way more than I expected, because I'm used to my range, which has 10 millimeters more travel, and well, it shouldn't really matter that much. I actually thought that this bike felt better. This bike just feels really natural. I keep on saying that, but it's true. Another way that I would describe this bike is just really fun. It's fun to ride. Like, I want to take this bike out and I want to ride it more. And that's what mountain biking should be, really. So if that's for you, this bike absolutely checks that box because it's really awesome. Predator was so much fun on the Sight. Reviewing my GoPro footage, I made it down the upper portion nearly 40 seconds faster than on my range the previous week. That's crazy. So what's the verdict for raw, chunky trails? I think it's great. While it may not be as good as the new range or some other enduro bikes, I'm still very impressed by how it handled. That's a thumbs up from me. Alright, so right now we're heading into Duthie, and I'm excited because we're going to test this bike out on some jump trails, which are my favorite. A lot of people that review bikes only stick to technical riding and climbing, so I'm excited because I'm sure you all want to know how this thing jumps. To get a feeling for how the Sight handles jumps, I started on Semper Dirticus, a fairly easy jump trail that's great for warming up and getting used to a bike. Alright, first test, want to get a little bit more comfortable on the bike before I throw it at any harder things. So I'm going to try Semper Dirticus. This thing is fun. I can already tell. Just on that little part, this bike felt awesome. The bike felt amazing. I was immediately comfortable on the first few jumps, and it handled very naturally on that trail. I tried sending it a little out of my comfort zone for a first run, and it raised my confidence perfectly. Let's try out Paramount now. Alright, stepping it up even more. Now we're doing Paramount. And we're just going to keep stepping it up all day because I haven't found the limits yet. And they're probably way beyond my skill level. Okay, what else can I say besides this bike is awesome? Let's hit some of Double Trouble now. Sweet. That's so good on this bike. So what else can I say? This bike floats over every jump, feels perfect to ride, and I love it all. Now we just gotta get the best lap down Double Trouble I've ever done. So what are my final impressions from testing this bike? Well, I loved it. Going through tech, it felt very stable with an urge to go fast. I felt more comfortable than I was expecting going faster, and it gave me confidence to launch off rocks and roots. With jumping, I was also very impressed. It felt natural in the air, and sending it is where the Sight shines. That's it for today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.